Welcome back to Religions International. I'm Maddie Mitchell.
And I'm Whitney Sharon. On today's segment, we're going to show and talk about all the fascinating things we learned about the origins and traditions of the Buddhist religion on our year-long trip to India and parts of South Asia.
To begin with, we need to trace back all the way to 600 BC when a lot of the Indians were quite unhappy with the Hindu religion.
One problem was that Brahmin priests cared only about temple ceremonies and didn't focus on the needs of the people.
Many found happiness within the Buddhist religion founded by Siddhartha Gautama.
Now is a good time to discuss Prince Siddhartha's past and what triggered his quest for this new religion.
Prince Siddhartha Gautama was born around 563 BC in a small kingdom in what is now southern Nepal.
Siddhartha seemed as though he had it all figured out. He was wealthy, handsome, and was happily married with a new son. He had never truly ventured out beyond the palace walls until one day he decided he would.
What he saw, he just couldn't believe. Beggars, people with illness, and old ones without homes.
He decided to search for the answer to the question, why did people suffer and how could their suffering be cured? He left his family and riches in order to find it.
He began fasting and sleeping on the ground. He nearly starved.
Legend has it, Siddhartha sat under a tree for 49 days to meditate so he could finally understand the answer.
He never went back to his family. He spent the rest of his years wandering the countryside telling people what he discovered. His lessons about life and nature of suffering became known as Buddhism. Siddhartha became known as Buddha, or Enlightened One.
Siddhartha believed that the only way to know the truth about the world was to give up all desires. He believed that giving up the desire for fame, money, and worldly things would diminish pain and sorrow.
By giving up your desires, you would reach nirvana, which is the state of wisdom. Nirvana came from the Sanskrit word for blowing out a candle flame.
Siddhartha developed the Four Noble Truths. Those truths are, number 1, life is full of suffering. Number 2, people suffer because they desire worldly things. 3, the way to end suffering is to stop desiring things. 4, the only way to stop desiring things is to follow the Eightfold Path.
The fourth step says to follow 8 steps. 1, know and understand the Four Noble Truths. 2, give up worldly things, and don't harm others. 3, tell the truth, don't gossip, and don't speak badly of others. 4, don't commit evil acts like killing, stealing, or living an unclean life. 5, do rewarding work. 6, work for God and oppose evil.
Buddha did not accept the caste system. He believed that a person's place in life depended on the person. Reincarnation is a part of the Buddhist religion. You are able to stop rebirth by following the Eightfold Path.
For 40 years, Buddha preached. After his death, his followers spread his message all over Asia.
Buddhists soon split into 2 groups. The first group was called Theravada, meaning teachings of the elders. It spread to the south and east. Theravada was adopted in Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, in the 200s BC. It became popular in Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos.
The second group was called Mahayana. They believed that Buddha was a god who came to save the world and that by worshiping him, instead of following the Eightfold Path, you would get to heaven. There you would follow the Eightfold Path to nirvana.
The Mahayana people had what is called bodhisattvas, meaning enlightened people. These people apparently do not go to heaven and stay on earth to help others and do good deeds. This type of Buddhism spread into China, Korea, and Japan.
Mahayana Buddhism mixed with Tibet's traditional religion and Hinduism in Tibet. Tibet had Buddhist leaders called lamas who led the government. The Dalai Lama was the head of the government. The Pakan Lama led religion. Both were believed to be reincarnations of the Buddha.
Today, many Buddhists live in Thailand, Cambodia, and Sri Lanka, but few live in India, which is where Siddhartha started his teachings. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Religions International. That's all for today. I'm your host, Whitney Sharon. Good night.